welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a reading vlog for my April pick. So this I posted on Instagram in March for y'all to choose from 3 different books. I can't remember what the other 2 were, but the one that was selected was the Transatlantic Book Club by Felicity Hayes-McCoy. So this was on my shelf for quite a while. I don't even know when this was published, but I think it within the last 2 years or so, but I got this from Harper Perennial as one of their olive influencers, and I have yet to read / review it. So that's what the point of this is. I guess it's a combo deal of doing a reading vlog with you all and then also doing a review for the publisher. But this also satisfies my Read Like a Gilmore reading challenge, where this is a book about books. So Rory's quote about carrying a book wherever she goes. Obviously, book club, a book about books. I'm hoping that is the case, but let me read the synopsis for you. So feel free to fast forward if you so choose. So, distance makes no difference to love. Eager to cheer up her recently widowed gran, Cassie Fitzgerald, visiting from Canada, persuades Lisbig Library to set up a Skype book club, linking readers on Ireland's Finfarron Peninsula with the U.S. town of Resolve, home to generations of Finfarron immigrants. But when the club decides to read a detective novel, old conflicts on both sides of the ocean are exposed and hidden love affairs come to light. As secrets emerge, Cassie fears she may have done more harm than good. Will the truth she uncovers about her granny Pat's marriage affect her own hopes of finding love? Is Pat, who's still struggling with the death of her husband, about to fall out with her oldest friend Mary? Or could the book club itself hold the key to a triumphant transatlantic happy ending? The Transatlantic Book Club, a standalone novel, continues the stories of the residents of the Finfarron Peninsula, introducing readers to new characters with whom they will surely fall in love. So that last bit about the standalone, but the characters of other stories, I know I've read some other books by her. What are the other ones? Oh dear. So I've read The Mistletoe Matchmaker, and I also have The Library at the Edge of the World, which I haven't read yet. That is on my shelf still. So clearly I do like this author, but I like when authors are able to do that, where they intertwine different characters from other stories that they've written. So that's pretty cool there. But anyway, for this reading vlog, so if you've seen my reading vlogs in the past, you'll see me reading and stopping intermittently to give you updates on where I'm at with the chapters or the characters and the plot and everything. This probably will have some spoilers because I'll be doing some reflecting and deep dive into some of the quotes and like the plot points and everything. So if you want to wait to read this book on your own and then watch this video later, feel free to do that. Or if you want to read it later and just want to hear what I think, any option is great for you all, but feel free to do what you're most comfortable with. But please know that this will have spoilers. And then at the end of the reading vlog, so that's the thing too, I am starting this a little bit late. I usually read on like a Saturday, Sunday. It is currently Sunday that I'm reading this. I was supposed to read this for the Dewey's readathon, or the 24-hour readathon, but that was also Independent Bookstore Day on the same day, and I chose to go book shopping instead. But this might go a little bit longer, so this might be a little bit today, Sunday, and then a couple days throughout the next week, which is going to be different, but I think that's okay, because I don't want to have this expectation that I will read a book in one day, which is definitely doable for some folks, me sometimes, but I don't want to have to do that every single time and feel like I'm rushing through the story just to get a video out or just to complete the book in time for the video. So this will be a little bit delayed if you were expecting it earlier. And yeah, just want to give you that little caveat, but I think that is pretty much it. I gave you the synopsis, the rundown on how I do reading vlogs, and yeah, we shall see how the first little bit goes. Okay, about 50 pages in, and there's a lot happening, and there's also a lot of characters, which I guess I wish I would have written down the different relationships, because there's grandparents, there's uncles, there's cousins, there's godchildren, and I'm getting a little bit confused, even though I guess there's still only 50 pages in. It's still not necessarily world building, but introducing characters. But I'm feeling that the more I'll read, the more I'll like be able to differentiate between the characters and see who's related to who and who's in each other's business and all that kind of stuff. So besides that, we are following a couple different journeys. One is Cassie, so she is the main character who's, I think, going to be the bridge with all the different families living in different parts of the world, I should say, in Ireland and in the States. And then throwing in a little bit, she and her family lives in Canada. And she's kind of like a free spirit, which is kind of neat, but she's learning, I'm figuring that it's going to be, she's going to like find her home, find her place, because she's kind of like, can drop anything and go. She's a hairstylist and she like picks up gigs here and there. It's not really long term or anything like that. So I feel like she's going to, as she's like caring for her grandmother whose husband had passed away, or her grandfather had passed away, I think she's going to grow to love this area or this community of people. Or if she's not going to like move there, she might have like a better connection to them or something. But yeah, we're getting a little bit of backstory and drama behind the two couples, I guess, because it starts out with a prologue of like the grandparents level or age, them, one of them getting married, or a set of them getting married, and they were like close friends. They called themselves the foursome. But now, fast forward many years later, the two women in the foursome are now widowed. And we're learning a little bit more about how they met their husbands, how they became like a friendship of four. And there might be some more drama in there than people may know or had known, but like chose to sweep under the rug. So I'm interested to see what comes up there. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. It's going pretty fast. Like I probably could finish this in a day, but like I said, I'm gonna try to take it easy. I do have a volleyball game later tonight. I had done a bunch of errands this morning, went grocery shopping, and then had to get a dress. I'm going to a wedding this upcoming weekend, so just a lot of like little things. It sounds like I'm making excuses. I'm not. I just know I don't want to have a time where I'm just like boom, 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 reading just to finish like I had said before. So yeah, I will catch up with you later. All right, another update. Not too much further. About 100 pages in. I got to sit outside for a little bit and get some sun, get some reading in. These squirrels were like super loud out there, but it didn't distract me too much. But anyway, I have to go head out to a volleyball game, which I'm very excited about. Probably not gonna be playing outside yet. There's several facilities in Cincinnati where there's indoor sand volleyball as well as outdoor sand volleyball, which you think of when you play sand volleyball. But yeah, we've just been inside since probably September, October when it got colder, but nets are up outside. Probably not today, maybe next week when it's a little bit more consistently warm. It's supposed to be 80 tomorrow, so fingers crossed for being outside and playing and getting tan and all that good stuff. Anyway, where we're at with the book. So a couple other things are happening. It feels like a lot of people, there's like two different ends of the spectrum here of handling or working with Pat as she is recovering from losing her husband and just in mourning. So one angle is Cassie, who's like the main character. Basically, she's trying to like do everything that she can to make sure like she's taken care of and everything's done for her, and like trying to get her out and about, not necessarily like distract her or anything, but just trying to ease her into the recovery process. And she's come up with all these different ideas for her and like feeling like she's the only one pulling weight in terms of the family when it comes to helping this woman out. And then there's the grandmother, Pat's oldest son, Frankie, who is uncle to Cassie, and he is the only one in town. The other two sons of Pat. See, this is why I needed like a map to figure out who's who. But anyway, the other two sons like immigrated to Canada / the United States and like aren't really back in Ireland that much. So Frankie's the only one there, him and his wife Fran, but they're really like hands off, and they're kind of not really involved with Pat in her life, and that's kind of frustrating to Cassie. So she's trying to devise a plan where Frankie's more involved. And Frankie's like, oh yeah, sure. And like, we'll figure something out. And it's not really dedicated or motivated. So that I feel like is going to cause like a whole kerfuffle of stuff, basically. but we're at the part where the book club idea is emerging, and we're gonna see what happens from there. So I have a feeling that like at first it's gonna go pretty well, or maybe Pat's kind of hesitant of like, I don't know if I want to be involved, but then she'll get into it, get excited, and then something's gonna happen in the book club where, I don't know, like family drama is going to be brought into the mix again. There's going to be some conflict in the family as well. So yeah, those are kind of some predictions. I don't know, but we'll see. I also like Cassie has two jobs while she's there, kind of like temping. One is a hairstylist with this woman Margot, and then the other is like part-time as a librarian assistant, filling in for somebody who's like on a sabbatical, I guess. And as a library assistant, she gets to drive like this mobile library bus, and that's like her favorite part, is like driving to different parts of the country where the town is, and like meeting up with kids and like seniors in that area. So I think that's where she's getting the idea of the book club, because that's what the senior citizens look forward to every day, or like whenever the bus or van comes around. And then, yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool to see like what she's doing for a living, to like keep her engaged, and not like the uncle seems to think that she's like mooching off the grandmother, but that's definitely not the case. So yeah, that's pretty much 100 pages summed up for you, a lot of detail, but I want to get going, and I might read a little bit more tonight. Depends on how I feel after I get back from volleyball. The goal is maybe 120 total pages for the day, or reach to that point in the book. That's probably going to be near the halfway point, and I'd be happy with that and move on to the next day. So if I don't talk to you today, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, happy Monday. We have this part finished, so about halfway through. I read a little bit more last night, but not really much to update on, even though it is a little bit more into the story. But I think even that's an update of itself, that there's not a lot happening. We're getting to like the book club itself. They've met once and decided on like, these are the books we're going to pick from. There's a little bit of drama there between like the two sides of the Atlantic Ocean, but that might spark some more conflict or conversation in the future. I'm not sure. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. We're getting a little bit more backstory about the family, and I'm getting them straight in my head about who's who's related to who, and then we're learning more about Cassie's kind of maybe fear or insecurities as it comes to like her own self-confidence and like being with another person and having that person stay, whether it's because like her grandmother's spouse or her grandfather passed away, or there's just been a lot of drama within the families and relationships. Not sure. I'm sure we'll uncover that a little bit later. But yeah, at this rate, I'll probably read some more tonight. I'm about to go, like I said, I'm here, about to go to dinner and a movie, and then maybe read some more later. But I should be on track to finish this in the next day or two. Granted, this is also the end of April, and I wanted to finish one more book, so maybe this is my motivation. Not trying to like rush through things, but yeah, be nice to have this one completed as well. It is a pretty quick read, but I kind of want some more to happen, so there's more for me to update you on. All right, finally for getting to some good stuff. So about 100 pages left, and there's a bit of drama happening. So Cassie and Pat, her grandmother, and Pat's son Frankie all are having this conflict that's going on. So basically there's a lot of things happening. So Frankie is mad at this one guy named Fury, who seems to kind of like whittle his way into Pat's life as like a, not necessarily a replacement for her late husband, but kind of, so he's feeling kind of threatened. And then Frankie's also accusing Cassie of being like a gold digger and only taking care of Pat to get money because of her grandfather's will. So that just came out, and people were like, what's happening? Is that true? I'm hopeful that that's not true, but like Frankie's providing some evidence to the contrary, based off conversations he's had with her and like things that he's like overheard her talking to other people in town about. So that's kind of rough. And then Cassie's having her own drama, like with relationship wise. She, like the guy that is back in the United States, they like communicate through Skype. She keeps bringing up this other guy's name and feels like she's like forcing it too much with this guy on Skype named Jack. And yeah, so that's a mess. And then she like is kind of having a thing with this other guy that she's met in town who runs like a cruise line and trying to find like tourist spots, and like the island that they're on, he's interested in using that as a stop on the cruise. So yeah, it's starting to get like spicy, I guess, or not spicy, but like more to talk about, more conflict. It's like rearing up to, I keep getting this wrong, whatever the rising action is, I guess. So excited to figure out how this is going to resolve. Also, today is Wednesday. I read a little bit yesterday on Tuesday and didn't give you an update then because I was exhausted and I had a late volleyball game at 9, so wasn't trying to record after that. But hopefully I will finish tonight and then be able to recap it for you. I finished! Okay, so I think it redeemed itself because I feel like I was rambling a lot the first few days I was reading this, like not figuring out who the characters were, or it was taking a long time to develop them. The plot was all over the place in my mind, but it finally came together right when those last 100 pages were left, and then it just like cruised on through the rest of the way. So as for the drama, way more drama ensued. Apparently Frankie, who is, I apologize with all this like who's related to who's related to who, and da 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 da. But Frankie, who is Cassie's uncle and Pat's son, he was bribing or blackmailing Pat's late husband because of like a bad deal that went south or something like that. And the late husband had written a letter and like put it in a safe deposit box or something that Pat just now found out about, confronted Frankie about his like bribery and blackmailing and all of that, and kind of put him in his place because he's kind of been having like a smooth, easy life and like living on the money that he'd had before the will and everything, but now he's just greedy and wants more. So Pat finally stood up for herself, which was amazing because we also learned that Pat kind of goes with what others' needs are, which can be a good thing, but also a bad thing. When she was younger, she was visiting the States and like saw this other guy and was talking to him, but she was already engaged to her now late husband. And it comes to find out that she didn't really love her late husband, didn't want to marry him, but was just doing it because he was really giving him a chance in life. And her best friend was kind of the one that like pawned him on her because like she felt bad and like wanted somebody else to take care of him. So that was the whole thing. So she confronted her best friend in present day and said, this is a long time coming, but basically I was in love with your husband. He didn't love me back, but I didn't want to marry my late husband and all this. So like, so much drama. I was like, is this a soap opera? Like so much is happening for what I thought was going to be like a light, fluffy, like chick lit kind of book. But I'm glad, I guess, it had depth, but a lot of the controversy and conflict was over so quickly. Like the confrontation with Frankie, heated moment with her best friend Mary, and like I guess Mary was kind of chill and like understood because they kind of resolved it pretty easily, and they're like, okay, we'll see you at the book club later. I'm like, what? There's no follow-up, there's no other conversations happening. So thought that was interesting. And then what else was happening? Oh, we find out that the guy, his name's Brad, that Cassie was kind of seeing, who owned like the cruise line, or she just found that out, was like lying to her, and like he's like a millionaire and like co-owns the cruise line or whatever. So when she finds that out, she was like going to storm off or whatever, but then suddenly they go and sleep together. So I'm like, what? I was just very confused with like that was resolved so quickly. Like, oh, like sorry I lied to you, but like would you have treated me differently if you knew I was rich, kind of thing. So like as soon as that was known, she's like, okay, well let's move on and drink some wine, and then they end up in bed. So Again, it's just a soap opera. Not sure. It was like exciting because it's like, but it was also like, what? Is this real? Is this reality? But there were a few quotes that I did want to bring up. Let's see. Here's a quote from, so the guy that I thought Pat was seeing and like Frankie was like jealous of, it wasn't like a intimate kind of relationship. Frankie just didn't want this guy Fiore to be like giving her influence of like what she should do with the will and like the ownership of the farm and kind of stuff. But anyway, he's talking to Cassie and he's talking about Pat's sons and how 2 of them went away to Canada and 1, Frankie, stayed. But he says, I'll tell you what it is, girl. It's always complex when people go away. It doesn't matter why they leave. If they put down roots elsewhere, they're strangers when they come home. And people who stay where they were born tend to stick together. If your dad and your Uncle Jim came back and started to meddle, they'd find they weren't welcome. It wouldn't matter what the neighbors thought about Frankie or even how much everyone likes Pat. Unless Sonny and Jim have developed some kind of amnesia, they'll know that well. So that I found pretty interesting of, like me, for example, I've left home. I haven't lived at home since I went to college in 2008. So is that 13 years? And like I visit and everything, but I know it's different. Like there's places I want to see kind of, but then like as the years progress, I'm like, no, I'm just fine chilling at home. I'm not really involved in like too much of the community or like the business and goings on there. Not really close to people that I went to school with and like grew up with or anything like that. But I just found that interesting of like, they have a point for sure. Like once you leave, it's really hard to come back or to understand what it's all about, even though I'm like, oh, I'm proud to be from Jersey, like all that kind of stuff. But like, do I really know what's currently happening in the state or like where I grew up in? Not really, but we still have like that pride or that connection there. So thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad I finished it. I will probably keep this at like a 3 or like medium, middle of the pack kind of story. I think this was, I did read Mistletoe Matchmaker. Is that what it's called? Yes, I did read The Mistletoe Matchmaker, and I don't remember that one being as dramatic as this one. Loved, oh, that was it too. Even though it's called the Transatlantic Book Club, like the book club was kind of like a sub character or like not a huge part of the plot. It like brought people together, but the meetings that they had, they spent them like chatting, which is fine. That always happens with a book club, and then picking the actual book or voting on it, and then a little bit of history and context of the book and like the mystery genre from what they picked. But they hadn't, at that, the last one that was mentioned or that they went to, they hadn't even read the book yet. So I was like, okay, well, I think that's fine. Like it still is a book about books in a way, because they like, that's what's bringing them together. That's what's bringing or unearthing all of these stories from when they had immigrated to America, when they visited America, and like their roots and everything. So that I thought was interesting. And then it's held in a library where another character, Hannah, who employs Cassie, works and I think owns. So that was kind of cool to get her perspective on like how she handles like patrons and things like that. So yeah, interesting take on a book about books and a book club. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, this reading vlog. Sorry it was kind of all over the place. I guess I wasn't really focused, and I'm maybe spreading it out over days was, I don't know, I go back and forth. Like I don't want to rush through it, like I said, in one day, because then I feel like I'm just like trying to get it done. But over the course of a few days, I forget what I had said in the video. So I think I need to find a better balance. So maybe 2 or 3 days instead of almost 4 or 5. Who knows? I'll keep playing around with it. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below with what you suggest I should be doing with the reading vlogs moving forward. Still gonna be doing them once a month, and I haven't picked my May selection yet. I'll probably have that to vote on soon. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to know more of my videos I post in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and happy reading.